Here we go. It is the final week of October. A full slate of NFL action for you here in week number 8. The buys take a buy here on Football Friday, presented by Wolf Spreads. Great to have the whole group with me here today as we get you set for a full week of NFL action. So, guys, you ready to do this thing for week number 8?
Absolutely.
Do it. Let's go. But before we do that, as we say, as Johnny just mentioned, we have a new sponsor called Wolf Spreads. It's a gambling app. Are you looking to get involved in the action while rooting for your favorite team? Have you ever had a friendly debate on who can pick more games correctly? Well, if you're watching Football Friday, then you are. Does all this talk about parlays, lines, and over-unders make your head spin? And you want to learn more about this sports betting hoopla? Yes, Hank, a SpongeBob reference. Gamble with us and come check out Wolf Spreads. We're running a sports betting competition completely free on Wolf Spreads app. Here's how it works. Everybody gets 2,000 fantasy dollars. Yes, 2,000 fantasy dollars. Cha-ching, cha-ching, money. That's fake money, just so people understand. It's not real money, it's fake money. To bet on the NFL games with whoever can profit the most with their 2,000 bankroll wins. And that's them calling right now. And if you're not an NFL fan, don't worry. Wolf Spreads has competitions available for the NBA, MLB, NHL, and college football and basketball. Let me get that so it doesn't stop. Put fantasy dollars on the over-under, the money line, or the spreads. Competing for bragging rights with your fellow players while having additional fun watching sports. And not risk losing your house in the process. Wolf Spreads, sports betting for friends who love the action. All right, let's go.
Absolutely. So what's going to happen is we're going to make our regular picks against the spread like we do every Football Friday. But in addition, all of us will have 3 extra picks that we'll use courtesy of our friends over at Wolf Spreads. So, like for me personally, I have 2 over-unders, and I do have a spread, and I do have a game against the spread that I will use when we get to those games. So
I was just gonna add, Johnny, that those Wolf Spread bets, like you just said, would be, they don't have to be the spreads like we always do with football.
Yeah, I like that. It's a nice little addition to us to what we do here. By the way, those will also not count though against our win-loss total and point total here against this that we use here for Football Friday. Which, speaking of which, as we get started, Nick DiMartino in the lead with 134 points. Zan's got 129, and then it gets very close after that. Tom is 127. I have 126. Hank and Ben have 125. Paul with 121, and Nick with 117. But as we've learned, 1 week can change the fortunes for a lot of us. So let's see what we can do here. We got a full slate of action, which started on Thursday night between the Bucs and the Bills, and we will get you ready here for a full slate here for week 8 in the National Football League. And we get it going, guys, with a Brandon Gaudin, Robert Smith, and Jen Hale special on Fox. Zan, the battle of the top 3 picks in the 2023 NFL Draft as C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, and the Houston Texans take on Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium. And the Houston Texans, both coming off their bye, the Texans are a 3.5 road favorite here.
Yeah, I think if you like offenses here, this is the game for you. Obviously, there's a lot of young players on both sides, and I just like the way the Texans have been playing lately. It seems like the Panthers are in free fall, still in search of their full identity. They don't really know who they want to be yet, and I like the way CJ Stroud has been playing the last several weeks, and the Texans are due for a big road win. So give me the Texans, the 3.5 point spread on the road in Charlotte.
So both teams, as I said, coming off their bye week in this one, and I don't feel the Texans. I think it might have come at a bad time for the Panthers. I think it came at a time that they really needed it. And if you noticed, Carolina is turning over the play calling duties to new offensive coordinator Thomas Brown there, who will roll out a different scheme when the Panthers take the field here on Sunday. And I think that's going to help rookie quarterback Bryce Young immensely. And also, historically, Frank Reich, 5-0 against the spread coming off the bye week as a head coach. And this is only the second time since the middle of September that the Panthers will be playing a home game. If you look at Houston here, who's trying to climb above 500 for the first time since opening week in 2021, while they are playing really well, they're 3-1 in their last 4 games, they've also been out-yarded in those games. And I tell you what, if it's not now, it's never. Houston, I think, might be able to still pull this off, but that extra half a point, I think, is going to come in handy in this game. So in game 1, on Sunday. Give me Carolina plus the 3.5 at Bank of America, Ben.
Yeah, obviously it's the battle of number 1 to number 2 picks, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. The Panthers obviously hadn't a win yet. I think that it's going to continue. They're a really young team. They got pretty good guys in their offense, but their defense and their offense and defensive line are pretty suspect. I expect the Panthers to be one of the sellers at the deadline come Monday. Derek, give me the Texans here to cover the 3.5. They obviously been pretty close in all these games, and I think CJ Stroud's been pretty good, and D'Amico Ryan's continuing to do a good job over there. So, give me the Texans to cover.
All right, Nick, go for it.
Yeah, I'm on the Texans route. I know a lot of people didn't expect the Texans to really do a lot this year. I think CJ Stroud has actually had some good games. He's a little bit up and down as of late. Bryce Young, a little bit up and down. Like Ben said, they're a young team. I think Adam Thielen is actually going to get traded at the deadline to a team that actually needs veteran experience at the wide receiver position. So I think he'll be gone by the deadline. And I think, like Zan said, I think this continues. I just think the Panthers are a bad team, and it's free falling, like he said. It's Tom Petty, and I'm free falling. Yeah, this is free falling. I'm taking the money.
All right, Hank, go for it. Hank's muted.
Wait, Hank, you're muted. Oh, wait. There we go.
First of all, that's because I was drinking water, and I think I may have choked during your plug, so I didn't want you to get interrupted by my coughing. Second of all, do I think the Panthers will finally get their first win? Nah, I don't see it. Give me the Texans.
Paul, what do you think here?
Yeah. I would going back and forth a little bit on this. I'm going to go Johnny's route. I'm going the Panthers at plus 3.5. I think they're going to end up winning completely. The game's in Carolina. They have to get a win eventually. The Texans have been rolling. They've been playing great, but I feel like the Panthers are going to show up to this game and give them a little bit of a scare. And I think the Panthers are going to have to pull one out. So this could be a big game for Bryce Young to be able to knock off CJ Stroud.
And Tom?
I mean, I think the Texans just have a lot of momentum on their side. They have had a strong start to the season. I think more impressive than any of us might have predicted coming into this season. I do agree with Paul that Bryce Young and the Panthers do have to get a win eventually. I think they will play a very competitive game coming off of the bye. And I think one of these weeks, one of these opponents that they play, Carolina, is going to slip up and end up giving Carolina its first win. I just don't know if it's going to be this week. I'm going to take the money. Give me the Texans to win it this week and cover.
I'll be very curious now, that new offensive coordinator, what that does there for Carolina. And they're going to be getting healthier. And again, Carolina's offensive line is not great, but neither is the Texans in the ability to get to the quarterback with sacks. It's going to be a fun matchup, even though, the records don't indicate it. It's going to be a fun matchup down there in Carolina in game 1. By the way, Nick D is also going to take the Texans minus the 3.5 here in game 1. Paul, it's Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi on the NFL on Fox as the Los Angeles Rams head to AT&T Stadium to take on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, and the boys are laying 6 points here.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. My old friend Kevin Burkhardt's going to be calling this as a Mets fan. Us Mets fans love Kevin Burkhardt, but Rams and Cowboys, both teams are coming into this game. The Cowboys have been started off hot and been slipping up a little bit, but I think that it's in Dallas. I want to go with the Cowboys at -6 for this one. The Rams have been very up and down. I'm not too sure that I'm convinced that they're going to be able to come into Dallas and blow anything away. Dak and the rest of the crew have been playing well. Their defense has been playing fantastic. I think that still put pressure on Stafford, and they're going to end up getting the job done in Dallas. So I'm going to take Cowboys at -6.
Tom?
So, yeah, I think the Cowboys, like Paul said, the Rams have been playing very up and down. They have had their moments with Matt Stafford and their young receiving core, but Dallas has definitely been playing a lot better in the last few weeks. Dak has definitely turned around ever since that embarrassment against Arizona. But one thing that Nick and I talked about in the most recent edition of Empty the Bench, we were talking about NFL trade deadline. We pointed out the number of injuries that Dallas has in its secondary. I'll be looking at a defensive piece or two trying to get one of those during this trade deadline. But yeah, the Rams have their moments. The Rams have some of their pieces, but they're no match for the Dallas Cowboys. Take that money. How about them Cowboys?
You're waiting for that. Zan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys at home, AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World. There's not much more I can say. Dallas is a better overall football team. This is going to be a big week for Dak Prescott and company. Give me the Cowboys and the money against a really just inconsistent Rams defense and a team that I just think it has yet to find their footing and probably won't until it's too late.
Hey, Jerry, are you there?
What do you want?
So, again, this is nothing personal, but I have to do this for this Football Friday, and this is going to hurt me to say this, but this is my lock of the week, and I'm taking the boys laying the 6 points here because the Cowboys secondary is concerned.
You scared me for a second, Johnny. You scared me. I thought you were going against them.
No, Jerry, it hurts me. The Cowboys is a lock any point of the year, but I look at this, and you were talking about the Cowboys secondary, but I'm looking at their pass rush against this shaky offensive line of the Rams, and Matthew Stafford's going to, I think, have a long afternoon there. And, obviously Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, who's playing some of his best football of the year in year number 10. In addition, the pass rushers of like Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, they're going to have a pressure party there at AT&T Stadium. And the line only 6 points means that the boys can win by a touchdown, and that's going to be good enough. So, this is going to be my lock of the week. We're going to try and win 4 in a row in this. Give me the boys over the Rams as my lock here.
Wow.
I know.
Did not expect that.
You know what, though? The funny thing is, and we're going to get to this, there's a lot of close, low lines again this week, so there's not many favorable ones to really do this in. And I just think I look at these matchups, and Dallas is coming off their bye week. The Rams had a very bad loss Sunday at home. Now they have to go to Dallas. Dallas is going to try and bounce back also with what the Eagles are doing. So I just feel like it could be a touchdown even, and that's good enough. So that's why we're going to go with it. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth with this one, but at the end of the day, it's in Dallas. Kyron Williams is going to be off for a couple weeks, so I'm really worried about the Rams' rushing attack. And I just don't think that Matt Stafford can just throw the football left and right on this Dallas front. So give me the Cowboys to cover the 6 here, and they have a big win coming off of the bye week.
All right, Nick.
So, hey, Jerry, are you still on line 1 over there? I have a question for you, too.
What do you want, Morgasen?
So what are your thoughts on Derrick Henry?
I would love to have Derrick Henry at the deadline. Tony Pollard is absolutely phenomenal. But then we're going to add Tony Pollard and Derrick Henry. Oh, man, that 1-2 punch, that's going to make everybody jealous.
And Jerry, are you still down on Dak?
I have my eye on him. He knows I have my eye on him at all times. And I mean all times.
Well, I guess that's a little bit convincing, at least that he's down on Dak, because you don't know what you're getting with Dak. But yeah, the Rams are probably one of the more inconsistent teams in all of the NFL. And with Matt Stafford, you don't know if you're going to get a 300-yard game or you're going to get a 100-yard game with 3 picks. Tony Pollard has been a concern because, again, he's been a little bit up and down, iffy playing. He's played some good games, played some bad games. I like the Cowboys, though. I just think they're going to put up a little bit more on the defensive end, which is what has been winning them games, not offense. Sorry, Jerry, it's not Dak winning games. It's defense. But, yeah, take the money.
Oh, I know my defense is great. You didn't need to remind me.
Don't give him too much confidence there, Nick. Hank, go for it.
Yeah, this one really isn't. I don't think this one's really much of a contest. Give me the Cowboys here. You're welcome, Jerry.
Paul?
Oh no, I already went. I'm going with the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right. We went to you. Jeez, I'm too busy focusing on Jerry Jones that I'm going back to you for a second time.
I always have the spotlight. I am irresistible.
All right, back to reality. As Nick D's also taking the boys, so this is a clean sweep at AT&T Stadium for the Dallas Cowboys. Tom, it's Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake on the NFL on Fox. In the NFC North at Lambeau Field, we've got Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings taking on Jordan Love and the Packers. And the Vikings with 2 straight wins, they're back in it, and they're a 1.5-point favorite.
So, I mean, unbelievable. I was wearing the Viking shirt on Thursday on Empty the Bench just to really lay it in that the Minnesota Vikings, despite them costing me my lock last week, pulled off something absolutely unbelievable, handing San Fran a second straight loss. Like you said, Minnesota, they're back in it. They're just one game shy of being 500, and standing in their way is the Packers. Now, what would concern me, Johnny, is that they're playing in Lambeau Field, and traditionally, the Vikings haven't had too much luck. They haven't had the greatest of success, I'd say, even at Lambeau. However, that was an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers team. And the Jordan Love-led Packers team the last few weeks, they've not been good. It has been a real struggle for Green Bay and a real struggle for its offense. So you know what? Kirk's not playing in prime time, and he somehow did win in prime time. And I think Jordan Addison, credit has to be given to Jordan Addison for the void that has been left with Justin Jefferson not there. And I know there was the concern last week when TJ Hawkinson had to leave the game with an injury, it seemed. But Jordan Addison has been really trying his best, at least, to fill the void left by Jefferson. And I think credit has to be given there. I am going to take the money with the Vikings on the road in Lambeau.
Hey, Johnny, I think the Kirk Cousins checklist has to come out, too.
Of course you say that.
We'll get to that when it's my turn, but I got to go to Zan first.
I mean, this is a classic NFC North tilt, so we know that no matter who wins this one, we're going to get a very, very just intense and high-scoring affair. And, you know, these are two teams that genuinely don't like each other. And as some of you guys have alluded to, the Vikings are back, and the Packers just look like, again, similarly to what I said about Carolina, it just looks like the Packers don't have an identity either. And I think Kirk Cousins is starting to get into his flow. They just beat arguably the best team in the NFC last week. I feel like all the momentum is on their side. I think they're slowly but surely just finding their way, and they know that they're a playoff contending team if they continue to win the next couple weeks. So give me the Vikings and the cover in Lambeau on Sunday.
Hold on 1 second.
Tom, go for it.
I almost forgot something. Hey, I got to get used to this. Talking about our wolf spreads and our 3 games that each of us are going to be picking. This Vikings Packers game is one of my big bets for wolf spreads for this week. I am placing, of my 2,000 fantasy dollars, I am placing $550 on a Viking money line.
On a money line, okay.
So you have them as an outright winner.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an outright win for Minnesota here, minus the 5.5. By the way, I'm just reading my Kirk Cousins checklist, and honestly, I don't think I need to use it this week. It didn't work last week, right? So let me try and do something that the Knicks couldn't do the other night. All right.
Oh!
Make a clean shot late. This is so Green Bay's been on the road the last few weeks, and historically, Kirk Cousins playing in cold weather environments when it's outdoors is not the same like a Kirk Cousins team playing in an indoor dome stadium. And this is a tough one because it's like a 50-50 game here for me. Green Bay's biggest issue is sustaining drives. But then do I go with Kirk Cousins' history that he's better in domes versus outdoor venues? But then do I also look at one thing that's good for Jordan Love and that he's actually does pretty well against blitzing defenses, and that he's going to get Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon finally healthy? They looked pretty good last week against Denver.
That's Denver, Johnny.
I was going to say Denver.
Okay, all right, here's another nugget against the spread. Now, again, this is a close number. Minnesota is 5-11 against the spread in Wisconsin since 2008. But it's too low of a number. I'm going to take Minnesota. I think those trends are going to change this year. And, Minnesota is playing with momentum, too. And it's going to be a very, very close game, too. I'm going to take the Vikings, guys, but it's a very hesitant take the money. Ben?
Yeah, this is just a game where kind of both teams have had their flaws for sure. I'm going to go with the Vikings here, the way that they've been playing the last couple of weeks. They beat the 49ers this past Monday. They also won the week before. So the Packers have just kind of been on and off. I haven't been a fan right now of their running game right now, which I thought was going to be one of their stronger suits. So I know Kirk Cousins has had his flaws. I know the checklist, Johnny. One of the Kirk Cousins checklist parts is he can't do well with Lambeau Field. That changes on Sunday. Give me the Vikings here.
It actually it's not in the traditional Kirk Cousins checklist though. And look, he beat every one of those rules last week, so I have to give him credit on that.
Right. So
credit. That's a historical thing though. And actually, it's also historical primetime stuff, but. I feel it's a little bit different. I think you guys were right. No Aaron Rodgers, no Brett Favre there at behind under center for Green Bay anymore. So maybe things will change. Go ahead, Nick Morgasen.
Yeah, I don't like this game, to be honest. Like, as Tom would say, I wouldn't touch this with a 1,000,000-foot pole, probably, to be honest.
Oh, man.
I'm so choked up over this game. I don't want to pick it. I like the Kirk Cousins checklist does approve of this game. Just saying, no Justin Jefferson. People have not mentioned that yet, but that's obviously a big factor. Which Ben was talking about the running game. I think that's affecting the running game because they're forced to stack the box. Teams are going to stack the box more against Minnesota. But Jordan Love has imploded the last 2 or 3 weeks and played terrible football, including at home at Lambeau. I don't know what's going on with Jordan Love. He's just not playing up to standard, up to par. I like the Vikings. I can't believe I'm saying this because I was down on the Vikings to start the season. But I'm going to take the Vikings and I'm going to say, you like that? You like that? Yeah.
Hank, what do we have here?
I was going to do a coin flip because, generally speaking, I don't trust the Vikings any more than I can throw them. Although with my not so great arms, I shouldn't really be throwing anyone, but that's neither here nor there. What I will say is, in response to what Nick said, you know what? I like that. Give me Minnesota. Disregard the Kirk Cousins checklist. The Packers with Jordan Love are mid.
And Paul?
Yeah, this is a very small line, too, that I would expect. I mean, the game is in Lambeau, but this is not the same Green Bay Packers that we're used to. Jordan Love has not been amazing this season. They're on a 3-game losing streak. As Ben said before, too, I do not like their run game either. I think that their entire offense has been lacking something throughout the entire year. And the Vikings are on a roll right now. Kirk Cousins has been playing great. They're putting together a good amount of wins, and I think they're going to move to 4-4. So I'm definitely taking the Vikings at -1.5.
All right, so now I feel a little bit better about my pick. Thank you, guys. And this is going to be a clean sweep because Nick's also taking Minnesota minus the 1.5 at Lambeau Field.
Johnny, before you move on, I forgot to add to my riddle that one of my picks on Wolf spreads that I used $500 fantasy dollars on is the under 42 in this game.
Under 42, I like that. Yeah,
I like it. I like the under.
Yeah, Green Bay hasn't played a lot of high-scoring games, and actually, that's been the theme throughout the entire league so far this year. It's been I think points are. This is like the lowest scoring league so far through 7 weeks in a long time. And in fact, there was a crazy nugget entering week 8 here. Let me pull it up. Heading into this week, 24 of the last 29 games have been a one-score game in the fourth quarter. And those haven't been blowouts. I mean, those haven't been high-scoring ones either. See, what just hesitated me also was Green Bay hasn't played a home game in almost a month, and it's going to be cold there. It's going to be in the 30s, possible rain, snow showers possibly in the forecast. But ultimately, I think Kirk Cousins is finding something, especially with that as number one wide receiver. We have to give him credit for that. They were dead to rights 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're back in it. And we'll see if they can make it 3 in a row here against the Packers. It's Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman on the NFL on Fox as the New Orleans Saints take on the Indianapolis Colts. This line's gone back and forth, too. The Saints are a 1-point favorite, and I'm going to take this game. And it's appropriate because these are two teams that I cannot figure out for the life of me. Here's the thing I'll say. The Saints are more rested in this one. They're better defensively. Yes, I know that the Colts came off of scoring 38 against the Browns last week, but the one thing that also was in that game was that Gardner Minshew made a lot of mistakes. And I don't think he can get by with that again here against this Saints defense. I think they'll get the best of him. So give me the Saints minus the 1 here on the road at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one because both teams kind of have similar kind of situations right now. I mean, Derek Carr obviously was ripping on Chris Olave, who, by the way, is now not even playing right now because of the situation. But the Colts are now with Anthony Richardson. I mean, I probably would have gone with the Colts outright in this one because I think he's just had a great year and unfortunately it's out for the year. But it's in Indy. The Indy lost a tough one last week. I think they respond. I don't know. The Saints have just been playing a lot of like close games as wins, like really low scoring. I think that the Colts, they put up, I think, high 30s last week. I think that they're going to be in the high 20s this week, and it'll be enough to win. So give me the Colts here at +1.
Wow. Anthony Richardson obviously being out, I think that's a massive blow, obviously, for the Colts. I mean, they played a barn burner last week against Cleveland, losing 39-38. Was it actually a loss, considering what the NFL referees did last week, saying they blew a pass interference call, which they probably shouldn't have called, which probably would have given the Colts the victory, but that's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome. But I don't know. The Saints have kind of been a little up and down as of late offensively. You don't know what you're getting from Derek Carr. But the Colts, can you really trust Minshew Mania? That's the question you really got to ask in your mind. And to me, you can't trust Minshew Mania for the long term. So I'm going to take the Saints to cover 1.
Hank?
Okay. You know what? It's time. Let's go with... Why don't we go with a random Scott Rowland card here?
Nice. Good choice.
Some people say he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Some say he deserves it. I am one of those people that thinks he's in. Let's flip it.
He should.
I'm sorry. Did you say he should be in?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? It's his tails. So you know what? I'm going to go with the Saints.
Paul?
Yeah, I mean, this is another game too that's really tough to pick. I don't know where I stand on either one of these teams. I don't think the Saints have played great. I don't love the way that Derek Carr has been playing at all this year. But the Colts lost a really close one last week, and they arguably should have won that game. I think they probably should have won that game. There's some bad officiating, but that's everybody. All 32 teams have to deal with bad officiating. That's the bottom line of the league. No matter who wants to blame certain teams for getting bailed out of certain calls. Doesn't really matter. Everybody gets bad. Everybody has to face tough losses. So the Colts got cheated out of one, I think. They're going to respond back. I trust Minshew in this game. It's in Indianapolis. I'm going to go Colts at +1.
Tom?
Yeah, this one is a game that neither team really impresses me much. As you mentioned, Colts had the one big scoring game recently, but this one, I don't think it's going to be a really big scoring game. And in fact, Wolf spreads bet number 2 for me. I am taking 450 of my fantasy dollars, and I am placing it on the under 43.5 points for this game.
Solid pick.
And what's your pick?
In terms of this, by way of coin flip and by way of I don't really care for this much, I say the Saints just have a little more players. I know Jonathan Taylor back. I think Saints are going to pull out just a hair more. Let me take the money on the.
And Zan?
Yeah, this is one that I think a lot of people are underestimating. I love this lines. Oh, shout out to the all Las Vegas odds makers for once they know what they're doing here. I think the Colts are gonna be pissed. They know they should have beat Cleveland last week. They know that they were probably cheated out of what would have been a classic shootout win. And the Saints team, you just can't figure out because Derek Carr's too inconsistent. I will like Minshew to throw 3 touchdowns, and I think he just outduels Derek Carr. And I actually will say that I will say this, even though I am picking the Colts to cover the spread and win, I am going to say this point blank, and I hope this ends up being true. Whoever has the ball last at the end of the game, and whoever it is, whoever's trailing, whoever has the ball last at the end of the game is going to win the game. That's what I think. So give me the Colts +1 at Lucas Oil Stadium. They get a nice bounce back win, and it actually ends up being one of the best games of the day between two teams that just aren't on everyone's radar at the moment. So give me the Colts.
I like that, Zan. You've made this game now must watch. I like that. Good advertising there. Nick D is also taking the Colts too. So a split decision here between the Saints and the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkabella on the NFL on CBS. Ben, your New England Patriots, coming off their big upset win, are back at it again. This time they go to Miami to take on Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. And Ben, for the second straight week, can the Patriots upset a 9-point favorite on the road here as a road team? Oh wait, they were home last week. I take that right. They were home last week. So
the Pats were home last week.
I'm sorry, but nevertheless, they're getting 9 points for the second straight week here.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that they can have a chance to take the points here in this one. Remember, the Dolphins, the Pats had a chance at the end of week 2. Obviously, the Mike Gesicki, I think it was a lateral to Cole Strange, who almost got the first down. It didn't work out. But Christian Gonzalez is going to be off the year, and he was one of the guys to guard Tyreek Hill. He did great in week 2. But Jonathan Jones is going to be back, and he does a really good job against Tyreek Hill. I think, with Jack Jones, J.C. Jackson, I think that the secondary will obviously be tested. Jalen Waddle, obviously, he's probably going to limit it, but he's probably going to be able to play. There's no way I see the Pats obviously winning this one, but I think it's going to be close. I think that the Pats, Belichick will do a good job. But the thing about it is, I'm going to go with the lock of the week here for the Dolphins to cover the 9 because Tua owns Bill. And I hate to admit it, but he does. So I'm going to have the Dolphins to take the -9 here, and it's my lock of the week.
Wow.
I think that's bold.
I can't say that I'm shocked, and I can't say that's bold. Take it from yours truly, who's taken the Dolphins twice as a double-digit home favorite as bench locks. And I can see why he's going with that, but let's go to Nick.
And it's not even because of the line. I think it's bold because we all know Bill is great at taking away your best attribute when you play. So he's going to block those wide receivers because that's Tua's bread and butter, to hit Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So he's going to do everything to block those guys and force them to run the football. So
and really quickly, the Eagles used a specific scheme last week that I think the Patriots are going to try to do, and it's essentially play a too high man coverage, but essentially it's a tilted coverage. So it's like if you essentially play a single high, you're going to get beat left and right. But if you have that safety to tilt a little bit, that's the way the Eagles are doing it, and that's be able to hold Tua a little bit longer in the pocket because if it's an anticipated type thing, he could carve you up all day.
But I think if they force them to run, I think it's going to be a close game. If they can keep Hill and Waddle, which is a stretch, that's a tough thing to do. But I don't know. That has me concerned. Obviously they're one of the best home teams in the NFL, but it's so close. I'm going to take the cover, but it's going to be a sweat to cover that 9. I feel it.
Oh, so you're taking the money. Okay.
But I think it's going to be a sweat.
That's fair. Hank, what do you have?
I understand it's an AFC East division rival, which Belichick seems to have a thing for beating up on those guys. Problem is, the Miami Dolphins have always been his kryptonite, even before Tua Tagovailoa was even their quarterback. Just look at some of Tom Brady's past losses, for example. And hey, just look at the last regular season home game of Tom Brady's career. But enough with my historical tangent. The Dolphins are truly the better team. I don't know if I'm going to quite use this as my bench lock, but there's no way I'm picking the Patriots here. Give me Miami.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Miami too at -9. I'm not going to use a lock on it. I think that there is definitely a good possibility that the Patriots could cover. I don't think the Patriots are going to win this game, but I think that they could potentially keep it close because the Dolphins have been a little bit interesting this year where they have been by far the most explosive offense in football, but they also have had times where they've had difficult times showing up when they've played against defenses that they're not accustomed to. And Bill Belichick obviously can attack any offense's weakness. So I wouldn't put it against him to get the Patriots to lock down the Dolphins a little bit. They probably still win the game, but I'm going to still take the Dolphins at -9.
What do you have here, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, Belichick definitely takes away your top weapon. The problem is Dolphins have way too many weapons. They have a pretty stacked team. And I know this is divisional, but you know what? Hank pointed something out. It's the Pats traveling to Miami. And historically, that has not been very good for that team. I think back to, for instance, something that I will always make reference to when talking about the Pats and Dolphins. I think it was 2018 game where Gronk had the missed tackle. And that unbelievable offset. Yeah, the Miami Miracle. So, but I don't think they need a miracle. They are pure and away the better team. Now, am I a little hesitant about this game because about picking the lock because of what the Bill and the Patriots just did to the Bills? Yes, absolutely. But I am still confident in taking the money and going with Miami on this one.
Tom, why did you have to remind me on that, Bob?
If I have to face constant references to the Miracle Dance 2 times, then I fair game for me to make that reference.
Fair enough. Obviously.
Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, he gets the last laugh though because the Patriots did win the Super Bowl that year.
That's true.
That is true. Yep.
Yeah.
One of the most boring Super Bowls, but I'll take it.
Hey,
That's true.
a win is a win in the Super Bowl. I don't care how boring.
I've never heard boring Super Bowl win in my life.
I'm so mad.
By the way,
I'm saying that from for anybody that's a non-Patriot fan there because it was a 13-3 win. It was a Bill Belichick masterclass. So I'm talking from a non-Patriot fan perspective, which we don't have any really in this group here.
Ben, I actually argued with people for hours after that Super Bowl because people couldn't stand it. They thought it was so boring. I thought it was a great defensive clinic by Bill Belichick and the Patriots that year. I totally agree with you. And but because people love high-scoring games, not only in football but all sports. They don't remember what a great defensive game actually is in any sports anymore. Zan, go ahead.
Jared Goff too. Jared Goff's tearing it up now. So
yeah, exactly. Zan, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what really made me mad about that Super Bowl sicko mode? That was the year they promised us sweet victory.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Well, first off, Johnny, very well said on your Patriots-Rams Super Bowl analysis. Is because I agree. I genuinely enjoyed watching that game too because it was really a chess match from the second the game started until it was over. As a lot of you alluded to, this is an AFC East rivalry game. This has been one of those games where it always trips up New England almost every year. This is going to be a bold prediction. I am picking Miami, but I do think with the spirited football that New England played a week ago, I am picking the Patriots to cover plus the 9 points. I do not think they win, though. I just think this is one of those games where Miami's probably looking past New England and are looking forward to future games. They're probably thinking, oh, this is a game that we could just check off. I think it's going to be one of those games where Tua struggles just a little bit. I think they'll have to overcome a 2-touchdown deficit to win the game. So give me Miami to win, but give me the Patriots to cover.
I don't think that's far-fetched either.
Hey, Zan, good choice, my friend. Good choice. I channel my inner Lee Corso right there. And you know what? You guys, I think you guys all wanted to do it. You all wanted to take the Patriots plus the points in this one, and then it just felt like you couldn't do it. I'm with Zan 100%. I'm taking the Pats plus the 9. Miami wins, but New England's got the defense that, and we saw it in their first meeting up in Foxborough, they've got the defense to slow down Miami. And this game being at home, I think, is beneficial to the Dolphins winning this game, but I absolutely see the Patriots covering this one, even if it's a touchdown, because they slowed them the first time. I think they're going to use the same strategy here. I think it's closer than a lot of people think. I mean, even if it's a touchdown, that's good enough. So, yeah, I will take the Dolphins to win, but I think the Pats keep it inside the number here and keep it a little bit closer. But if there's anything we learned from that game last Sunday night in Philly, it was the same thing that I warned everybody on last week. The Dolphins better, if they're going to make the playoffs, they better have a home game, because if they're on the road against good defenses, they are going to be in big trouble. We saw that against Buffalo, and now we've seen it against Philly. Two teams that on the road against stellar defenses, and they struggled. I think the defense keeps Miami in check, but I think they still have enough to win this game. So let's take the Dolphins to win, but the Pats plus the 9 here at Hard Rock Stadium. By the way, Nick D is also going to put his bench lock here on the Dolphins minus the 9. So once again, so that's 2 players on a high spread with the Dolphins. There must be something to Miami and high numbers at home and bench locks, because we've done that a lot this year. So 2 guys putting their bench lock on the Dolphins minus the 9 here against the Patriots. Nick, it's an Andrew Catalan, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan, and AJ Ross special on CBS. It's the Super Bowl of New York, the New York Jets and the New York Giants. And your Jets, I don't know if I could say your Jets, because this is Mr. Negative here, who criticizes both of these teams to high heavens, but your Jets are a 2.5-point favorite here.
And you know what? I'm tired of my owner making this the Super Bowl like every 4 years. I'm so tired of this nonsense. Like, it's not the game that you consider the Super Bowl. Go win the Super Bowl. Don't make this your Super Bowl. What is this? What are you claiming? The Snoopy Bowl? Is that what you're claiming here? Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe it's a Snoopy Bowl with a lot of dog biscuits from MetLife, so there's that.
I mean, as shocking as this is going to sound out of my mouth, I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the Jets, and I'm taking the money. I think the defense is better. Sorry, Giants fans. But I understand Tyrod has played better. And Johnny and I were talking about this a couple days ago, how people are overreacting on social media that Tyrod should be the starter because he's played better. Let's get back to reality, everybody. You're paying a quarterback $40 million. You're not starting Tyrod for the rest of the season. Give me a break.
Unless
okay.
Daniel Jones is not healthy. That's the only exception.
And Saquon, I think we were all right about that he's hurt. I know he's back, but he's been hurt. You're not going to give him a new contract in the offseason. I think they're just playing. I don't know. I really don't know. But I can't trust the Giants here. I can't believe I'm saying this, Johnny, but take the money with the Jets.
By default, he's got to be positive about some team here between these two. All right, Hank, go ahead.
I mean, oh boy, this game, I am going to be on edge for all the wrong reasons in this game. I mean, look, it was an ugly game last week, but hey, false hope, baby. You got to love it. And if the Giants win this week, I mean, look at the rest of their schedule. It's actually quite winnable. I mean, I think this will be yet another ugly game. I don't know why. My gut's telling me we're getting another wild Giants win. Again, it's not going to be pretty, but Johnny and Tom, answer me this.
Yeah.
Haven't you guys known a lot of Giants ugly wins during the course of your lifetime? After all, yeah. I'm pretty sure we have all watched the same games. Have we not?
We've seen some ugly wins and we've seen some great wins, but at the end of the day, in the NFL, a win is a win.
You're goddamn right it is. Give me the G-Men.
What?
All right, so let's go a little bit out of order here. Let me go to Tom, since he's also a Giants fan here. Tom, what do you have?
Oh, okay. Yeah, little split on this game because Johnny, I actually, maybe I'm just doing this to jinx myself in the hopes of a Giants win, but Nick Morgasen, if you remember something, during the preseason, you and I were sitting here and we were going through every single one of the Giants games. And did I not say by this point the Giants were going to have 2 wins?
You did. You absolutely did.
And accurately predicted every single game. The problem here is that we predicted this game when Mr. RELAX was the quarterback. And now we've got Zach. Let me go find the nearest MILF. Wilson has the quarterback.
Well, Tom, can I give you a fun fact?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm breaking this out now. Okay. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Tom,
And I just couldn't stop.
can I give you guys a fun fact?
Okay.
Zach Wilson actually has a winning record since seeing Donna Kelsey in the stands. So maybe you're on something with that comment.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
we have gone off the rails, everybody.
Hey, what can I say? He's the NFL's version of Stifler.
Well, let me ask this about quarterbacks to be a little more serious and focus on Big Blue. I say, if I can try to be serious, I don't know. We are serious here on Football Friday.
Serious?
I completely agree that if the Giants win, it does not matter. They're not going to start Tyrod Taylor over Danny Jones, who they're paying $10 million a year to. But if the Tyrod Taylor plays in this game and the Giants do win, that does not do any good for Danny Jones's expectations, because now that's going to raise it to the point where if Danny plays and the Giants start to lose again in November, that smells of a problem. So, you know what? Maybe I just said it out loud to try and jinx myself, but I think Nick Morgasen is right. The one thing that stands out to me in this game is the Jets defense. It stinks because I wanted Aaron Rodgers versus Daniel Jones, and I guess we're going to get the battle of the backups this year for Jets-Giants instead. Whoop-de-doo. But you know what? I'm going to try to jinx myself. I'm going to be Mr. Negative here. I'm going to go with the Jets taking the money on this one.
Ah!
All right, let me go. Here's the common Giants fan too. First off, I appreciate Nick's comments there at the top about this game. He's totally right. This is the most overrated game every 4 years. I said at the start I wanted this game week 1 because then we just get it out of the way. We don't have to focus on it for the rest of the season. This is I tell you what. So I have 2 plays on this game, but let me start with the point spread first. And this number has actually come down because when it first opened up at a 3-point favorite, the numbers come down. And it's such a tough one because if you look at these 2 teams, both teams' offensive lines are awful. Both teams' defenses are, well, one's good, one's getting better. The quarterback matchup is also a tough one to figure out. So then you got to rely on the running backs position, and Breece Hall is good. Saquon, if he's healthy, is good. I think you're seeing the Giants. The one thing you haven't seen the last couple of weeks here is like guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt have been getting involved in this one. But I feel like the Jets get up for this game more, and I think they have more motivation and more of a reason. You know, they need this game. I mean, the Giants really need this game too if you want them as an outside shot here, but they still have the toughest schedule of anybody left in football the rest of the year. And now that this number's come down below 3, I think the Jets win this game by a field goal. But so I'm going to take the Jets to win here. But I'll tell you, my real confident play in this game, let's go to the Wolf Spread app. I'm taking the under in this one. The over-under is 36.5, and I think it's going to be less than that. I think this is I agree. This is 17-13 Jets in what is not going to be a pretty game. I mean, it'll be a good defensive game. I think that's how the Giants have been, that's how the Giants have been playing these games the last couple of weeks. Their defense wasn't actually that bad against Miami. It was good against Buffalo. I thought it did well against Washington, so it's showing signs. But the problem is just that offensive line and the ability of the Jets to get to the quarterback is what ultimately concerns me, although you do see Tyrod able to escape that better than Jones has. But I just think at the end of the day, I think the Jets have a little bit more, I think they have just enough to get this one done. So give me the Jets here by 4, let's say, over the Giants. But the better play for me is to take the under 36.5. Let's go to Paul.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game. That's what I was thinking in the beginning. I'm going to go with the Jets at -2.5. I think that they're going to end up pulling out the win. It's going to be very close. But the Jets defense is just a little bit too much, especially against the backup QB. And I know that Tyrod has played well the last couple of weeks, but I think that the Jets are just going to have a little bit more firepower. And obviously this game, it's at Giants, but it's a split game right down the middle. Both teams are home, so there's no home field advantage. So I'm definitely going to go with the Jets at -2.5.
Probably be a prop bet somewhere on one of these betting sites about who will have more fans at this game. Probably, right? I'm sure they're probably.
Well, that's a degenerate gambler bet right there, John.
Well, there's always something, right? Let's go to Zan.
Well, first I'm going to start with Wolves spreads. As part of one of my Wolves spreads plays, I have $200 fantasy dollars on the Jets -2.5, and I have $100 fantasy dollars, and I'm actually going to go opposite on what a bunch of you guys have said. I actually love the over 36.5. I think this is going to be a shootout.
Oh,
I think this is going to be a classic game, probably the best Jets-Giants game in about 10 years. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to be hungry and ready to play, and I think Zach Wilson outduels Tyrod Taylor in a horribly played defensive game, and I think it's going to be all offense for 60 minutes.
By the way,
wow.
two things on that, though, Zan. Let me just counter that. Number one, if this is going to be a shootout, I actually like the Giants more than the Jets when it comes to the shootout. Number two, is it really better than when Victor Kruse ran that 99-yard touchdown catch on New Year's Eve back in 2011?
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm saying it's going to be the best game since that game took place in the series. So it's not going to be better, but it'll be up there. That's what I think.
Okay. Go ahead, Ben. What do you have here?
Yeah, so I mean, the Jets obviously are coming off of a big win against the Eagles a couple weeks ago because they're on bye last week. The Giants only scored 14 points and won last week, so I look at it in a way where I think that both defenses played pretty well last week, but the Jets I think will have the edge. It's going to be a raining game on Sunday too, so I think that the elements are going to be a factor for both teams, but both obviously, like Paul mentioned, that both teams are playing essentially in the same plays that they're accustomed to. Give me the Jets here at the 2.5, and I'm going to have them take the -3 on the Wolf spreads.
Yeah, it was at 3 with the book that we used, and then dropped to 2.5. So we'll see. We'll find out. Also, by the way, real quick, Nick D's also taking the Jets, but this is also going to be a special here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network, a live stream special you guys are going to be doing on Sunday, right?
Yes. So we will be live. Jets, Giants, battle in New York. Tom and I will be there. I think Hank's going to be there also as well. I don't know who else is going to be there. We're still working those details out. But the three of us will be there at least. So make sure you tune in on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. We will have that for you here on all social platforms.
And I want to give some credit, by the way, because I want to give some credit over to Hank, my fellow Giants fan, despite the fact that I made that pick against him there, that he has a point, and I made this point in the preseason too. Outside of that Week 10 matchup against Dallas, Week 9 they're playing the Raiders. Week 11 they're playing Washington. Week 12 is New England. Then they finally get their bye, and damn, by that point will they need their bye? So it's still one of the toughest schedules. Week 14, the Packers. It's still one of the toughest schedules. This first half has been absolutely brutal, but Hank has a point in that the Giants' schedule is about to get a little easier, which may put them out of play from an early draft pick. But, if you win against this Jets team, you still have the outside shot. But I will throw one other question out there to Nick, and I think I made this question on the recent ETB Sports, out there to Hank, even to Johnny as well, because Johnny, you were there for the NFL preseason preview. If you remember last year in 2022, when I had low expectations, I said the Giants will only get a couple of wins and then they'll end up trading Barkley at the deadline. Here this year, I said that the Giants would stick with Barkley, considering their easy schedule, considering all this drama, and especially now considering the fact that they have had he has had the injury that he did have. But basically, my question is, if the Giants lose this game, do they trade Saquon on Halloween?
Yeah.
Thank you.
At the very least, you have to listen to offers.
Yeah. I think Baltimore is certainly in play for Saquon. Here's the thing. I still don't think the Giants put themselves in such an early hole here that I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of it, number one. Number two, you're not bringing back Saquon after this year. So if you're not going to be in contention, I think you certainly have to play that. If you would have told me, if you tell me right now, you call up Baltimore and Baltimore offers you a third and a fifth, and let's say you even send them a fifth, and you get a third and a fifth out of Baltimore, you're saying no to that?
No, I'm saying yes to that.
Well, let me ask you, since we're doing game shows here, Tom, deal or no deal?
Deal.
Thank you. Okay.
I think you take whatever's on the table. I think at this point, you gotta move on from him because he's gonna be disgruntled again in the offseason asking for a long-term contract, which the Giants are not gonna give.
That's what I find hilarious out of all this is that he was in the offseason, he talked about the big contract and stuff, and then last week he says, "Oh, how much he loves it here in New York." I mean, you can't really have it both ways, and
No, you can't.
we'll find out here.
Well, I do agree. By the way, going back to that schedule, that is the one thing that is going to kill you because even if you make the run, like I think they might make you do, Nick, you and I have talked about this. Playing Philadelphia 2 of your last 3 weeks is going to absolutely kill you.
Yeah, and you still got to play Dallas.
Right. Week 10. Yeah, that's the game I mentioned.
Dallas. I don't know. First off, they got to get healthy in the offensive line first before we have any sort of conversation about this. So let's see. Let's see what happens. It's kind of a swing game in that regard, but we'll find out. All right, let's go to Hank here. Hank, it's the Birdman, Iron Eagle, along with Charles Davis and Evan Washburn on the NFL on CBS. Trevor Lawrence and your Jacksonville Jaguars take on Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Jaguars are 2.5-point favorite here.
Johnny, are you ready for me to throw a little bit of a curveball at you?
Of course.
I think this will be a lower scoring game that you were expecting. And you know what? I'm still not 100% sure about the health of Trevor Lawrence after Doug Peterson moronically left him in on that pointless play. So, and since the Steelers are home, Steelers 24, Jags 21. Upset special.
Ooh. Upset special. Nice. All right, Paul.
I 100% agree with Hank. I'm going.
Hey, now we're talking.
I'm going with the Steelers at plus 2.5. This is like the perfect game, I think, to take the upset because I mean both teams are rolling. Steelers are on a 2-game win streak. Jaguars are on a 4-game win streak. They've both been red hot. Jaguars have been able to pull out wins like crazy recently, but I think the Steelers are due for a big win like this. They've played well all season, and the game's in Pittsburgh too, so which I really like. So I'm going to agree with Hank. I'm taking Steelers at plus 2.5.
Tom?
Damn, that's a tough one. Yeah, I am concerned about Trevor Lawrence. I still have thought that the Jags were a better team. You know what? Damn it! I'll continue the train. Upset special.
Zan, go for it.
Wow.
Woo!
I mean, I love the way Pittsburgh was just extremely resilient in LA last week, and as you know, I wasn't giving the Steelers much of a chance last week, and they proved me wrong. I think they're finally hitting their stride. They're playing their best football of the season so far. I think not only is it going to be a Steelers win, but it's going to be a George Pickens special. He's going to have 9 catches and 2 touchdowns on Sunday.
Whoa!
And the Steelers get a huge win at home to cover the spread, giving the Steelers and the upset special as well. That's 2.5 at home against the Jaguars in a game that Pittsburgh desperately needs.
Wow. Okay. So let's give you some numbers here. The 2023 Steelers are the 2022 Vikings and more. So they're 4-2 despite a minus 24-point differential, and they're the 5th team in NFL history to post a winning record through their first 6 games in a season despite being outgained in every contest.
That's unreal.
And you know what? I'm taking them too.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm getting 2.5 points at home in this one. And I think about it, yeah, Lawrence and the Jags have the extra rest, but the Steelers defense is going to give Lawrence just enough trouble. And the Jags' 31st ranked pass defense is going to give Pickett just enough breathing room to tip things in their favor. Give me Pittsburgh plus 2.5 at Aquashore Stadium here, Ben.
And
all the upset specials on you guys. I'm going the other side. Give me the Jags.
It was worth a try.
Yeah, I was considering it too. It's going to be a game where both teams are pretty much coming off of the last couple of wins here. But listen, the Jags have been red hot. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They've played Pittsburgh pretty well in the past. Remember, obviously, in the playoffs in Pittsburgh, the Jags won that one. Their defense, I know, is young. They've obviously had their moments, but I don't trust Kenny Pickett back-to-back type of games here to not go without a turnover, which he didn't do last week. So I think the Jags get one here. And it'll be kind of like the Jags-Saints game last week. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going to have the Jags cover the 2.5 here.
What you got, Nick?
Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
People forget about ETN being one of the better running backs in all of the NFL. I mean,
Yep.
people forget that he's been running all over defenses. But is Trevor Lawrence healthy? That's the big question mark I have here. Because otherwise, they really don't have very much, which is a problem. But I don't know. I don't really like Pickett. I've been on the record before a lot on this, saying that I don't like Kenny Pickett. But you know what? I'm going to go with the group, and I'm going to take the Steelers to upset. But I think it's going to be a sweat. But I'm going to take the upset.
I mean,
Wow.
Nick, let's be fair. Let's be fair. There is a realistic chance that the Jaguars can win this game, but even if they do, I can honestly see it only being a 1 or 2 point win where the Steelers still cover. The Steelers defense is that tough. Now, credit to Etienne. Yeah, he definitely runs through defenses, but Steelers have really, really good defense. Hello, Mr. Watt.
We'll see.
Absolutely. I think they've got the defensive player of the year there. And right now they've got a coach of the year candidate there in Mike Tomlin, because, 4-2, despite a minus 24 point differential. I mean, what they're doing, it's pretty remarkable what they're doing down there in Pittsburgh. Ben, it's a Beth Mowins, James Lofton, Jay Feely, Amanda Guerra special on CBS as the Atlanta Falcons take on the the Tennessee Titans, done as the Houston Oilers. And the Falcons are a field goal favorite.
Yeah, this is just one of those games where it's just kind of like, what it is. I'm not a big fan of the Falcons this year, but I do not like the Titans in this matchup either. Will Levis is starting. I don't know what to expect from him whatsoever. And you got Desmond Ritter on that side. He's been really inconsistent. So someone has to give here. Give me the Falcons to cover, though. I guess, the Titans obviously are coming off of a bye. And Arthur Smith knows the Titans fairly well. So I think that's familiarity right there. Give me the Falcons here to cover, but I hate this game.
Yeah, I look at this game, and I have a sentence or two to say about this. Stay away from this game, you degenerate, because that's what this game, this category of this game falls into. I've been burned by the Falcons all season. I've been on the record for that. Every time I pick them, they lose badly. But at the same time, what are the Titans? The Titans quarterback situation is like a game of musical chairs. Like, you have no idea what you're going to get. And yes, I know the quarterback you're starting is obsessed with Mayo. Yes, I get it. But my point is the Falcons are going to win this game somehow. I got burned, but I'm going to take them to cover.
Hank, what do we have here?
Oh boy, let's do it again. Well, since if I pick this game, I would be a degenerate, I think we know which card I have to bring out again.
You said the word, Nick. You said it.
It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse where he said the secret word.
Well, it's password. The password is degenerate. Ding.
Okay, let's flip it. It went tails. Yeah, let's go with the Falcons.
Paul, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons in this one too. The Titans are just in a situation where you don't know what you're going to see from them this week. I mean, we don't know what we're going to get from Levis. We don't know what we're going to get from Malik Willis, since they're going to be splitting time. So I just don't trust it. Falcons have been able to, even with not so great season from Desmond Ritter. They've been able to piece together wins, and they're 4-3 right now. So I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Tom?
You mentioned Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith's name was brought up during this conversation. And I have a bone to pick with Arthur Smith because on one of my fantasy teams, I have a certain Bijan Robinson. And the way he is utilized in this offense, the way that Kyle Pitts is utilized in this offense is so questioning. It's unbelievable. By the way, what the hell even happened that supposedly Bijan wasn't feeling well and had some of his time limit? That was just a really bizarre situation. But you know what the sad thing is? Despite the way that Arthur Smith bizarrely has his offense, despite the way he bizarrely uses players, the Falcons still manage to win games. And you know what? I'm going to make a Hank comparison here. The Titans, led by Will Levis or Malik Willis, it's a mystery box. You never know what you're going to get.
It could be a boat.
So it could be a boat, or it could be 2 tickets to a Cleveland Browns game. So that being said, like I said, Arthur Smith somehow to pull this off. So take the money.
Go ahead, Zan.
This is the worst game of the week on paper. You couldn't pay me to watch enough. You couldn't pay me enough money to watch this game. To give me the choice to only watch this game and only watch it in full screen without knowing what's going on with any of the other games. So I will steer clear away from this game. I think Desmond Ritter does just enough to outdo whoever the Tennessee Titans quarterback is going to be. Give me the Falcons -3 and give me a really ugly final score. I'm going to say Atlanta wins 29-18 in a really just odd game.
I'll tell you what's odd about this game is the line. 3-point spread here for the Falcons. Something seems fishy with that. Now, Vrabel said that I think he's trying to be creative here because he's saying that he's not really naming a starter, that he's going to go with maybe a tandem of Willis and of Malik Willis and Will Mayo Levis. First off, Levis better get the bulk of the stats because Malik Willis is just not the answer. But I tell you right now, I'm going with an upset special here. I'm giving me the Titans plus the 3 against the Falcons. I think if Levis is going to get the bulk of the starts here, I think he provides a spark with this team. When this team does not have a lot of a spark, this could be Derrick Henry's last game in Tennessee, and I can see him going off for a big. And I can just can't you see him going off for 100+ yards in this game? I absolutely do. Tennessee is. I mean, Atlanta. Nick said it. Atlanta's just. It's very difficult to figure them out. So I'm taking the unsure. I'm going against the unsure thing. Pretty much is what I'm doing. Give me the Titans upset special in Nashville in this.
By the way, I have to make one terrible joke, and Tom's going to hate me for it.
Oh, gosh.
But I would say that for Will Levis, he should get us sponsored by Hellman's because this game is going to be in hell. So Hellman's Mayo.
Yeah. That's like the Gong Show another game show reference, the Gong Show that kicked off. But by the way, I'm not going to be a lone wolf because Nick D is going to join me and take the Titans plus the 3 here against the Falcons. And again, we'll see by Tuesday if Derrick Henry is going to be out. I mean, it looks like.
Wait, does he not realize that I kicked him?
What? What?
I kicked you after that joke.
I know.
Okay. You didn't react the way I thought you would.
A for effort, though. We'll give you that. But so everybody except me and Nick D are going to take the Falcons, and Nick D and I myself are going to take.
Let me move you back over to your spot, Nick.
There we go. We got to keep doing this.
Oh no.
Shuffle.
Well, my computer's delayed, so Nick,
It's not a big deal. Let me go to Tom there in the top right corner. Tom, it is a Christopher Myers, Mark Schlereth, and Christina Pink special on Fox. In the NFC East, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Commanders, and the Eagles heading to FedEx Field are a touchdown favorite.
The Eagles are a touchdown favorite. Yes, and honestly, I've been in great debate about whether or not that I should use the lock on this game because Nick Morgasen, Morgasen knows that the division games are just completely weird. We were showcased that this past week, how weird division games can be. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yes.
So, I mean, I remember the Eagles Commanders already played it once this season, and the Eagles didn't do as great of a job as they should have. That game ended up going into overtime. So here's what I'm going to do. I am still confident in the Eagles. They are still a much better team, but I'm not going to use my lock on it, but I will take the money.
Okay, I'm trying to get used to this order. All right, Hank, go ahead.
I'm trying to get everything reordered, but
it's fine. It's not a big deal.
I think the Eagles are definitely going to get a sweep against the commies, foreskins, whoever you want to call them. Not going to be a close one. Now, is this going to be a game that I use the lock of the week on? Not quite. Regardless, give me Philly.
Van?
Yeah, give me the Eagles here, minus the 7. I think this is a relatively easy sweep game, and I think Jalen Hurts has a field day and a Commanders defense that's just relatively questionable. And I also wanted to make my final pick of the evening here, or of the show here, courtesy of Wolf Spreads. My final Wolf Spreads pick of the week is going to be the over 43.5. $200 fantasy dollars. So give me the over 43.5 and give me the Eagles minus 7. Jalen Hurts throws for 3 touchdown passes, with 2 of them going to AJ Brown, and I think the Eagles get their easiest win of the year.
Yeah, this is not the same Eagles team that the Commanders nearly upset at the beginning of October. In fact, since that Week 4 overtime thriller, Philly's ranked 2nd overall in total defense and tied for 6th in points allowed. I think we saw that game against the Dolphins show that this Philly team is for real and legitimate. And I'll tell you what, here's how confident I am that I'm taking the Eagles to win and cover this game. We're going to take them minus the 7 here. And on my Wolf spread, on Wolf spreads, I am also taking Philadelphia minus the 7. So probably the next short thing to a bench lock is taking the Eagles twice, laying the 7 points here against the Washington Commanders. And also, this Philadelphia pass rush going up against Sam Howell, the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, I mean, just doesn't seem like a fair fight, right? So give me the money here twice with Philadelphia. So give me 2 cha-chings on that one, Nick. You can. There you go. And you can go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I have the Eagles minus 7. Even though Jalen Hurts has been a little bit up and down as of late, obviously, can't believe I'm saying this, but the Jets actually, I'm not going to say they forced 3 turnovers, but Jalen Hurts made 3 bad throws and had 3 picks. But I don't know. This is not the same team as we said. They were a much better team way early on in the season. Now they're kind of falling apart a little bit. Injuries. They're finally getting guys back. They're still going to win, and I think they're going to cover. But I don't know. I could see this being a close game, maybe getting under a touchdown, possibly, because sometimes the Eagles kind of play down to their competition a little bit towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
But take them to cover, and I have that's my first and Wolf spread. To take them minus 7 also at 500. So I'm taking both on the double cover.
Wait, so you're saying the opposite of me. We're both saying they're different since their Week 4 meeting, but you're thinking they've gotten worse. They've gotten worse since the first meeting, or
I think they've gotten worse because of the injuries, and also I just think they're not playing the way that they were at the beginning of the season.
I think we saw that game last week to prove that they are, though, going to be very, very dangerous. And I hate to say this, but I got to give Howie Roseman a ton of credit again. Goes out and makes that trade for Kevin Byrd from Tennessee. I mean, that's a stellar pickup there for that secondary that has had issues this year. You know what? I can't stand the Eagles, but God, I respect the hell out of them because you know what? They go out there and get their moves. And let me tell you, I'll bet it wouldn't surprise anybody if Howie Roseman goes out there and makes another move by Tuesday.
Maybe
it wouldn't for me. At least, though, you know what? I can respect the Eagles because they kill me on the field while the Cowboys just, it's all talk and no proving it on the field. Ben Kruse, what do we have?
I'm actually going to take the Commanders in an upset.
An upset, full upset.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the +7 and go with them outright. The Commanders took the Eagles to the end of their first matchup, and I know, obviously the Eagles aren't the same team, but the Eagles have been pretty much close games in pretty much a lot of these ones. Even in the game against the Dolphins, it was tied at halftime. They're obviously a great team, but I think that, the Commanders play the Eagles tough, and I think that it's going to be a close game. They're always close division games. So I'm going to go on a limb. I was really had to take a think about it because I've been picking the Eagles a lot, and deservedly so. But I'm going to go against them, and I think they're going to have their second loss this season to the Commanders on Sunday.
Well, I guess Nick is kind of half agreeing with you because he's taking the Commanders plus the points as well here in FedEx Field in this matchup. See, I think the Commanders actually have gotten worse since their meetings. But you know what, though? This league, you never know. Like I said, it's been a lot of close-scoring games here, and we'll find out what happens there. Adam Amin, Daryl Moose Johnston, Pam Oliver special on Fox. Nick, it is P.J. Walker and the Cleveland Browns taking on Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks a 4-point home favorite.
All right, I'm just going to say this right off the bat. This is an upset for me right off the bat. I'm taking the Browns +4 because I like the way they played last week. I know that they probably, like I said, they probably shouldn't have won the game, but they played really good and they hung in there. P.J. Walker has looked way better than everybody expected coming in for Deshaun Watson. I think now they've finally officially put him on the roster or the active roster because I don't think officially he was on the active roster during some of those games. So I like P.J. Walker. He's been playing really good, and the running game has actually been playing well. PJ's been able to make some deep throws down the field too, which Deshaun has not been doing. Heck, the $300 million guarantee not paying off. And Seattle's kind of reeling a little. Just like some of the losses they've had some really tough luck losses in the past couple of games. So, yeah, upset special. Browns +4.
Hank, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I don't quite agree with the upset special. I mean, sure, the Browns did look good, but they're not a team I generally trust. Give me Seattle.
All right, Paul?
I also have it. I just wanted to say one thing. Sorry, Paul. I have that +4 on the Wolf spread, too. Okay, go ahead.
So you're taking the plus the points, but not the money line play there.
Just plus the points.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm actually going to agree with Nick. I'm going to go with the Browns at +4. I think the Seahawks still win the game, but they win a close one. So I'm going to go with the Browns being able to pull from within 4 points of the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will squeeze it out. It's in Seattle still, but there's something about the Browns that has just looked good the last couple of weeks. I still don't think you can really trust them deep into the season, but this matchup's kind of interesting because I don't necessarily trust either of these teams long term. But I'm going to go with the Browns at +4.
Tom?
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting. I think this is an underrated game. I think this is going to be a real top game to watch this week. I mean, Seattle definitely has Geno Smith. And say what you want about Geno. You can say you have some concerns about him and his play. But you know what? As long as they got the weapons around him, like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Ken Walker, they're going to continually deliver, and they've got some strong offense. It's in Seattle, home of the 12th man. It's going to be a tough game, but I do like Nick Morgasen's point. PJ Walker has played tremendously. You would think losing to Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb that this Browns team would fall apart, but both of these teams are 4-2. So you know what I'm going to do? This is anticlimactic, but I am going to thumbs middle here. I am going to go Seattle. I think they only win by a point or two.
Wow.
Go ahead, Zan.
I just think for the sole purpose, even though PJ Walker has been playing very well over the last couple weeks, sole purpose that's scary for me is the Cleveland Browns traveling cross country into two totally different time zones during that trip. I think that's going to mess with their heads a little bit, especially with the start time being what it will be. Give me Seattle and Geno Smith to cover the spread at -4. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Seattle will do just enough, score the winning touchdown with a couple minutes left, and it will be a pretty entertaining game. I'm gonna lean away from this being my bench lock of the week, but I do think Seattle gets it done. Simply for the sole fact that I just think the home field advantage is going to play a factor, and this is an environment that PJ Walker has yet to be in. So we'll see how he handles the pressure, but I just don't think this week is his week.
Yeah, the home field definitely means something to the Seahawks, especially since they're a good team again. But I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know how I don't pick the Browns at least getting the 4 points in this one, because their defense is going to keep them in these games. And last week, one thing that was lost by last week's final score of 39-38 is their top-ranked defense did force 4 turnovers, and their defense will keep them in games. Now, Seattle's won its last 2 home games by 10 points, but the Browns also still do have Myles Garrett, and he can run and he can wreck any game plan. So while Seattle may win this, at the bare minimum, I'm definitely taking the plus points with the Browns +4. Probably a close game. And would it surprise me if the Browns win this game outright? Absolutely not. It's with their top-ranked defense. And let's be honest, is it really a downgrade going from Deshaun to PJ Walker? Slightly. Not as much as everybody would make you believe. I think it's only a slight downgrade, but I think they keep it within the number, and I wouldn't be surprised they win this game outright. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Browns +4 here, Ben.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. Like Tom mentioned, 2 teams, obviously 2 decent defenses. DK Metcalf is playing in this one, so I think that's obviously massive for the Seahawks. But PJ Walker, I mean, you got to give him his flowers. He's played pretty well in the absence of Deshaun Watson, which I don't think many people expected. I think the Seahawks are going to win, but I think the Browns are going to take the points because the Browns have a pretty good defense, and I think it's going to be a close one to the end. So give me Seattle, but I think the Browns would take the +4 here.
So mostly all in agreement there. Nick DiMartino taking Seattle -4 there at Lumen Stadium. Hank, it's a Chris Lewis, Ross Tucker, Justin Walters special on CBS as Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens take on the Arizona Cardinals, and the Ravens a 9.5-point road favorite.
Are you ready for another curveball based on my haterade of Lamar?
You're not. Oh,
What?
Don't do that.
I'm taking the Ravens as my lock of the week.
The Ravens lock of the week. All right. There we go.
Oh, okay.
What'd you think I was going to do, Nick?
I thought you were going to take the plus points.
No, I'm taking – this is my lock of the week.
Wow.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm not going to lock this game, but I'm definitely taking the Ravens at -9.5. They've been rolling, and Arizona is just not good. Just plain and simple.
Tom?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, okay, there we go. For some reason, my thing wasn't clicking off of unmute. But yeah, plain and simple. Credit to the Cardinals for the way that they fight in some games. Joshua Dobbs, we talked about the excellent job that he has done. But no question, Ravens, better quarterback. Ravens, better players. Say Ravens. The line might seem a little bit scary, but I'll say take the money on this one.
Zan, what do you have here?
I'm taking the Ravens as my lock of the week, and I'm also going to take the Ravens -9.5. I think that this is one of those games where the Ravens show that their offense is legit, and I think even though Arizona is a young team, I think they're going to struggle in the second half after keeping it close in the first half. And I actually think Lamar throws 4 touchdowns on Sunday and puts together a highlight film in Phoenix. I think it's going to be a Ravens masterclass. And on Sunday, give me the final score of 36-13.
Wow. So almost a carbon copy of last week for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they did against the Lions. Hank, I think you wanted to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm taking the Cardinals +9.5 here. I think the Ravens win, but this is kind of a letdown spot for Baltimore. And look, I love Baltimore. You know how much I praised Lamar Jackson this year. But this game feels like letdown to me because if you look at who they just came off of facing and who they've got next week, this feels like that little trap game for the Ravens. So I even could see them winning by 9 or 8 points here, and it still can get it done. But I think this is just too many points. And if you notice, this line jumped up 1.5 points very quickly, and I'm going to take the Cardinals plus the points. I'm not going to say they're going to win this game. I mean, that would be absurd to do. I know they did this against Dallas. They're not going to do this here against Baltimore because Baltimore is actually deeper than Dallas. But I think they actually might get that backdoor cover too. So that's why I will take the Ravens to win, but give me the Cardinals plus the 9.5 points there in Arizona, Ben. Oh, wait, I went to you, Ben. I'm sorry. You can't get 2 picks. I'm sorry. Nick D's also taking the Cardinals plus 9.5 too. So I think him and I are kind of in agreement in both taking Baltimore to win, but Arizona plus the points. Here. Paul, it's a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins special on the NFL on CBS as your Kansas City Chiefs take on the Denver Broncos. But before we make your pick, I don't know if this really can we play this because the Broncos did win last week? Yeah, we can. Who are we kidding? It is the Denver Broncos at the end of the day. So let's go to the videotape.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, Broncos country, Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, Broncos country, Broncos country, Broncos country, let's ride.
Yay, you won a game! Yay!
Yay!
Oh, it's the party stuff that just that just gets me.
That makes the whole video right there.
That makes the whole thing. You're exactly right. All right,
They won the Super Bowl.
God, what happens here if they win this one? Well, let's find out. Paul, your Chiefs a touchdown favorite at Empower Field at Mile High with Kevin, Trent, and Melanie on CBS.
Yeah, and not too much of a shock. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. As we said just a couple of weeks ago when we played the Broncos for the first time, haven't lost to the Broncos since 2015. Just because it's in Denver, not going to make any bit of difference. The Chiefs are going to roll. The big takeaway from last week's game against the Chargers, I think, was the offensive explosion. Rashee Rice came out and played. Travis Kelce, who a lot of times gets locked up by the Chargers, and Derwin James, who has had his number throughout his career, was able to explode, almost had 200 receiving yards. So the Chiefs are on a roll right now, and I think that they're locked in on offense especially, and they're going to bring it in Denver too. And I'm excited to see what we do at the deadline because I want I think that they're going to address the problem a little bit more. They brought in Mecole Hardman. I think they may bring in another wide receiver. So this is going to be interesting. But Chiefs, this game's going to be a blowout. Not even close.
You want more? I mean, you got the best acquisition of anybody. I mean, you got Taylor Swift there. I'm just kidding. All right, Tom, go ahead.
Great. Can you guys? Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
for some reason, I hear you guys and see you guys talking. For some reason, my computer can.
Your computer's playing defense against you.
I guess so.
What have you been watching lately, Tom?
Why?
No, I'm just thinking with all the mute buttons probably that are going around your computer probably.
I know. Okay. So
I'm
really sad because my having technical difficulties as Morgasen knows with my little sound effects board here, but I'd like to share with you, with no words, just sounds, my thoughts on this game. No words. I'll just give sounds.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
This is my lock of the week. Are you kidding? 1 touchdown and an extra point.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing I forgot to add too. This is my lock of the week.
Oh.
Big surprise.
Wait a minute, Paul. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Considering the game Kansas City barely covered with the last second garbage time field goal, are we sure? Are we sure about that?
I think I trusted this time. I think I trust. Last time was not good, but I'm going to attribute that to being Thursday Night Football. Hate Thursday. I'm going to blame that for for those issues.
Zan, let me just say this. Let me add one point before we move on. If the Chiefs win this game, and especially if they cover and I get my lock, and especially if this is a blowout, you guys laughed your asses off this week.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, I've got something in mind. So Chiefs
I don't like that laugh.
Oh,
I don't
man,
like.
I
I don't like this version of Tom. But
My villain arc has started.
Nonetheless, though, this game, there's not too much to sweat about. Kansas City is light years better than Denver. Russell Wilson is slowly aging by the week. Give me the Chiefs -7 and give me a 38-20 final score at Mile High. This game is going to be a snooze fest if I've ever seen one, and I think that anyone that has to suffer a punishment on Sunday, this should be the punishment. Watching this game without knowing any of the other final scores of any of the other games.
There's one issue though about next week though, Tom. The Broncos are on their bye week next week.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got some bad news. I mean, we got a Frankfurt game next week, but we don't have the Broncos playing.
That's all right. You know what? I'll still come up with something.
You know what it'll do, though? It'll give you 2 weeks to build up the masterpiece that you want to use from coming out of the bye.
You're correct. It will. I have time. I have more time than I thought.
Yeah, you have more time now.
I got to tell you, in the past, you actually could make a case for a Broncos cover here because the Broncos used to have a good defense. This year, nope. And you know what the Chiefs have? A strong defense, a solid offense, and the Taylor Swift effect, which is for real. And yes, it is for real because let's just put this out there. Paul, this is just for you. In the 4 games Taylor Swift's been in attendance, Travis Kelce's averaging 108 receiving yards per game. In the games that she was not, he's averaging 46.5. Patrick Mahomes, that's it. Mahomes, Kelce, and the Chiefs, they're clicking on all cylinders, especially after that win over the Chargers last week. Now, the funny thing is I almost could see the Broncos jumping out to an early lead in this one, but we all know how this one's going to end for Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and the Broncos in Denver. I'm taking the money with the Chiefs over the Chargers, Ben.
Actually, hold on, Johnny. I almost forgot. So I kind of went a little crazy with this game. So not only am I picking the Chiefs to win, not only am I taking the money, not only is this my lock of the week, but I have placed a couple of pretty strong wolf spread bets to close things out.
Wow.
I have $600 fantasy dollars on this game within 2 bets. I am taking $500 of the fantasy dollars on the money line and $100 on the 7-point spread.
Whoa.
If that is not all in, I don't know what is. I hope somebody from Denver's not watching this and going to return the tide.
No, Tom is just like,
yeah, I still can't.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs here. I think personally that they're just the much better team. They've been playing a lot better of the football, and that was just definitely a one-off there for Denver. So give me the Chiefs to cover the -7.
Nick?
yeah, this game is pretty easy. I mean, I think hopefully it's not like the last matchup where Patrick Mahomes got a little lackadaisical in the first half and threw some bad picks in the first half, which I was kind of surprised about. But I could see Pacheco going off for 2 touchdowns. I could see Mahomes going off for 2 touchdowns. I could see this being an ugly game. It is going to be an ugly game. This is definitely not. This is going to be Broncos country. Let's ride in an ugly fashion. Take the money, and this is a lock too. And it's also my last little spread for 500 on the cover. So two covers.
So basically, Nick Morgasen and I are just putting a battering on Denver in this one.
Quite literally.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I don't know if they can name more than the 70-20 game against the Dolphins.
This could be the NFL equivalent of a potential Tyson Fury knockout over Francis Ngannou on Saturday too.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
What do you?
Now that you said that Francis Ngannou is winning tomorrow.
No, I didn't.
And now that you said that. Now that you said that Francis is winning tomorrow, you just put the jinx on Tyson.
Unfortunately, we might be in for that scenario. in for a scenario where on Tuesday I'm going to have to eat all of my words of everything I just said. Yeah. And, unfortunately.
There you go. Some nice little cross promotion there for the MMA outsiders. Go ahead, Hank. What do you have?
Oh, the mother of all upsets. Broncos country. Let's ride, baby. No. Are you kidding me? I'm not even, no chance. Give me the Chiefs.
Oh, I was waiting for it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, be the lone wolf.
That would have been good.
That would have been so good.
No, I can't. That would be Nick. That would be worse than taking the mystery box if I took the Broncos.
Yeah, you're right.
I will say this. I will give Taylor Swift some advice. Because did you guys saw her reaction when Kelsey simply got tackled?
The handshake gets a 0.0, by the way.
Kelsey better not get injured, because if she had that, like, gas kind of horrified kind of reaction of getting tackled, if he suffers an injury, I don't want to know what her emotions will be like.
No, we don't know if she's even going to be in attendance there on Sunday. We'll find out. You're talking about the thing with Brittany there, Nick?
Yes, that handshake was a 0.0. It was so bad. And by the way, they're such effing liars. They're acting like friends when they're not.
Oh,
okay,
they're teammates. That's what it is.
Oh,
so
stop.
Clean sweep.
As long as we get less Jackson Mahomes, please. We don't need any more of him in there.
Well, we all know he mooches off his brother anyway.
It'll be fine.
I know.
Clean sweep, by the way. Nick D also taking the Chiefs here over the Broncos. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson special on the NFL and CBS, Tom. It is the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow coming off their bye week to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And again, now the big question with this game is, will Brock Purdy clear concussion protocol in time to start here on Sunday? Otherwise, it could be Sam Darnold for the Niners there at Levi Stadium, and that's why this number has gone down. The 49ers are a 4-point favorite.
So, as a little update to you guys, as of the time that Thursday Night Football is going down, the likes of Schefter and company are saying that it is highly unlikely, considering the history of people placed in protocols so late like Purdy was, to clear it, which means we might be in for a treat. We might be in. Nick Morgasen, you may have to relive this. The Sam Darnold experience.
Oh my God!
He's not giving me a response. He's refusing to acknowledge Sam Darnold's existence. What the I don't know, guys. Is it time to be concerned about the 49ers with 2 straight losses, with the fact that they don't have Debo for at least another week? Is it time to hit the panic button? Well, not the panic button. Is it time to hit the concern button? Nick Morgasen's out. Are you going, yes?
I can't wait.
Hell yes! Hit the panic button. Wait, where's the panic button? Yes, hit the panic button.
This one's tough.
It's really
because
close.
I mean, but you know what? They still have McCaffrey, and maybe they'll just hand the ball off to him. I question, though, is Sam Darnold going to have the kind of connections to the likes of George Kittle or Brandon Ayuk like Brock Purdy could? And, the 49ers still have the talent, but the Bengals have been firing back. Burrow looks healthier. T. Higgins looks good, and Jamar Chase doesn't have to complain as much anymore now. This one's tough. Here's what I'm gonna do. Hate to do it again, but I'm going thumbs it again. I'm going 49ers, but I think this is going to be a very close game. I think this is only going to be about a 2-point game. Say something 26-24, 28-26, something like that.
Okay. That's not a bad play, though. Let's go to Zan.
This is going to be a good game regardless of whether or not it's Darnold or Purdy under center for San Francisco. And I think Cincinnati's starting to play better football. I think they do enough to cover the spread, but I think the 49ers only win by 1, and I think the Bengals defense test the 49er offense that I just don't think is really, played really tough defenses, and they've kind of played down to their competition in recent weeks. I think that Cleveland Browns loss was a loss that they needed to have to improve the rest of the year. And I just think Cincinnati going cross country to the West Coast is going to hurt them. So give me the 49ers, but have them only win by 1 or 2 points. I had the 49ers to win and the Bengals to cover +4.
So I've been high on Cincinnati even when they were at their lowest point of the season. And look, this definitely is a very favorable spot for them, at least it looks like, because they're coming off their bye week. They're getting healthier. They've had 3 wins in their last 4 games. Now you've got possibly their backup quarterback. And really the concern you would have really normally also would be that offensive line for Cincinnati going up against Nick Bosa. But Nick Bosa hasn't done a great job of being able to get to the quarterback either. But man. See, I think the easy play is to take Cincinnati, but you know what though? Sam Darnold has done this before in favorable spots. When he was with Carolina, he was put in a favorable spot, and he contributed to help take the worst team in football at a time into playing relevant football into week 18 last year. And I think he's in a favorable spot here too, because I do not like the Cincinnati Bengals run defense. So he could hand it off to McCaffrey, and he could run rough shot over this team. And you know, when Sam Darnold is put in favorable spots, he's successful. And you know what? I know Jet fans don't want to hear that, but Gang Green never put Sam Darnold in a favorable spot when he was there. So I like San Francisco here to get a hard-fought win heading into their bye week. So I'm going to take the money there at Levi Stadium, Ben. Nick's shaking his head because he doesn't want to pick between Joe Burrow and Sam Darnold. I know.
No, I'm shaking my head at what you just said.
What about Sam Darnold not put in favorable spots?
Yes.
Where was his favorable spot with the Jets though?
All right, we're running too long.
I know we're running late, but he never had this kind of talent with the Jets that he had in Carolina or in San Francisco. You got to be fair with that.
I mean, what I'll say is he didn't help himself. That's what I'll say.
He didn't have a roster to work with either. Ben?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Bengals are obviously coming off of a bye week. Felt like Joe Burrow kind of started to feel, himself a little bit the last couple of weeks coming from that calf injury. But the Niners, obviously, defensively, they're obviously really pissed with the way that the last couple of games have gone here. Give me the Niners to cover because they're at home. But I was really tempted to take potentially the points with the Cincy because I think it could be close. But I think that with it being a -4 instead of a -7, I'm going to lean towards the Niners to cover here and take the -4. So give me the Niners.
All right, Nick, I'm curious. Go for it.
This is like a battle of hell in my mind going on right now because, I don't like Sam Darnold. I've never liked Sam Darnold ever since he was in the Jet uniform. I don't like the Bengals either, and I've gone on the record for that all season. And I think for the most part, I've been right about the Bengals all season. I don't
a little bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's perfect by any means. But
hey, don't disrespect the Bengals.
I don't think they've been great. But I don't know. I mean, like Ben said, it's a home game for San Fran. I think that helps it out a little bit. I also agree with if this is like 7 or 8, then you probably have to lean to the Bengals and take the plus points, which I would hard press doing. But I'm going to take them to cover. I think it's going to be a touchdown game. I think it's going to end like in a 6-point game. I think that's how it's going to end. So I'm going to take them to barely cover.
Hank?
You know what? I'm taking an upset special. I am going to listen to Tom's advice. I'm not going to disrespect the Bengals. Maybe I'm disrespecting Sam Darnold, though, but that's neither here nor there. Give me Cincy.
And Paul?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cincy, too. Just too many question marks with 49ers, so I'm going to go with the Bengals at +4.
Yeah, this is a timing thing, too. We've said it a lot these last couple of weeks on the show about how timing works out, and this could be one of those games where Cincinnati's getting San Fran at a great time on both sides, too, with 49ers problems and Cincinnati getting better, I should say. Nick's taking the Niners, laying the 4 at Levi Stadium. Zan, it's Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark on Sunday Night Football on NBC as Tyson Bagent and the Chicago Bears take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. And the Chargers are an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think the spread is perfect. I think Vegas knows that Tyson Bagent played a really good game last week, also against an AFC West opponent, I might add. And I think Vegas also knows that Justin Herbert under the lights on Sunday Night Football at home usually plays pretty well. I actually think this is going to be a really, really entertaining game. I think this is a game that people are going to be looking past. They're probably going to think that, oh, this is going to be a snooze fest. It's going to be a blow up by halftime. I think the Bears keep it close. I think they lose. I think they lose a really competitive game, and I think the final score is 34-24. I think Badger throws an interception late. The Bears will only be down 3, and then the Chargers will punch it in to win the game by 10. So give me the Chargers to cover the spread. Bears put up a valiant effort, but they lose another game, and they move one step closer to potentially getting a top draft pick. But you have to really give it up for Badgen. I mean, this kid was a Division II quarterback. No one had ever heard of him, and he went and he beat the Raiders last week as I thought he would. I was one of the few people to pick the Bears a week ago, so I was really, really happy that I got that right. But yeah, give me the Chargers.
Zan, that was the best story of Week 7 was Tyson Bagent. And if you watch his interview post-game with Laura Oakman, he's a very likable guy. But I got to tell you, this is a tough trip to go against a good team that needs this game in the worst way. The Chargers have too much talent, though, to keep losing games. So I think this is where it ends. I think it is a 10-point game. I'm going to take the money with the Chargers. And I'll tell you, though, if Bagent ends up winning this game for the Bears, then once again, the storyline Monday morning is Brandon Staley.
Right. It's storyline number 1 is going to be Staley's future, and storyline number 2 is Tyson Bagent does it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, though, this is a very tough task for him, though, going to LA in prime time on national TV with, a team that's desperate, really, in the Chargers. The Chargers are desperate, and they just got too much talent that they could lose like this. So that's why I'm going to take the money here. But we'll see. I mean, this has been a crazy league year. You never know.
For sure.
Ben, what do you have?
Yeah, give me the Chargers. I think the Chargers will charge as much as possible, but I still think that the Bears are just still, not in their overall, range kind of with that overall team. They were handling with the Chiefs, the Chargers did last week, but, with this Bagent kid, he obviously had a great story last week, but, this week, of course, he's facing a lot better of a team. So give me the Chargers to cover the -8.5. And, yeah, I think they'll take it.
Nick?
I was very tempted for a little bit to take Bears +8.5, just because the Chargers are a very up and down team, and you don't know what team you're going to get every night. I thought that they were going to win the game in LA against the Cowboys. We all thought that was a trap game. I think, Ben, you specifically said that was a trap game. You thought, but I don't know. They threw up all over themselves and lost that game on the final drive when Herbert threw an interception while getting sacked. But I think they will cover. I think it's going to be a barely cover, but they will cover. But I think the Bears will put up a fight.
Barely cover.
I wasn't even trying to do that, by the way. But yeah, I think they'll barely cover. But I think it's going to be close. I think the Bears are going to be competitive all game, just because the Chargers know how to blow leads away early.
Hank, what do you got?
You know what? I think the Bears will cover too. Why do I say that? Look, even though I think the Chargers are going to win, you just know it's going to happen despite Brandon Staley's best efforts.
So you're taking the Bears +8.5? And
correct.
Okay, so Chargers win, but the Bears plus the points, and that's not a crazy play either here, Paul. What do you have?
Yeah, it's going to be a close one because it's tough to take the Chargers to win by that much. I'm going to take the Chargers -8.5. I just think that they're really desperate and they need this win very badly. Also on Sunday Night Football, it's in LA. They have no excuse not to win this game by double digits. If they don't, then there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. But I'm going to go with them at -8.5.
Tom?
Well, I think it was Ben who said Charger going to Charger, and I actually want to take that and transform it a little bit, and to answer Paul's question of if they really can't win this game by double digits, and that's because Staley going to Staley. It's the Chargers have a lot of talent, yes, but you know my thoughts on Brandon Staley and how just terrible he runs his team. That being said, this is the Bears. I'm going with the Chargers. No doubt I'm going with the Chargers to win this game, but you know, why not? I say the Chargers don't cover. For some reason, some sinking feeling in me. Sinking feeling in me says that Brandon Staley and the Chargers are just going to do what they do and make it close. They've been in a lot of close games this year.
Hey, including the Vikings game also.
Yeah, so why should I not be surprised that this one ends up a close game too?
You might be right.
We'll find out there at SoFi. Nick D is going to also lay the 8.5 with the Chargers. So everybody's in agreement that the Chargers will win, but Hank and Tom both taking the Bears plus the 8.5 on Sunday Night Football. It's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters on Monday Night Football on ESPN as the Las Vegas Raiders take on the Detroit Lions. The Lions trying to rebound as an 8-point home favorite, and I'm going to take this one. And, you know, Dan Campbell's squad was served a healthy slice of humble pie last week. But you could also say the same thing for the Raiders guys who suffered a loss to Tyson Bagent and the Bears. This is very simple to me. Detroit's the better team on both sides of the ball. The Lions are also averaging 31-plus points per game at home this season, while the Raiders have reached 20 points just once. This has get right written all over it. So 2 plays to wrap up week 8 for me. Lions minus the 8, and I'm going to do something very rare this week. I am taking the over in this game, which is 46. I think this is actually one of the higher scoring games, if not the highest scoring game of week 8. So give me the Lions to bounce back at Ford Field against the Raiders on Monday night.
Yeah, this is definitely a get-right game for the Lions. I was even talking to my Raider fan on my other pod, and he's just like, there seemed like to be the team that's always the get-right team. He's been so down his Raiders for so long. So the Lions, of course, are coming off of a blowout loss against Baltimore last week. This is a game I think that the Lions really need specifically to rebound, and they will. It's at home. They play a lot better at home for sure. And, you know, the Raiders are definitely going to be on the cusp of thinking about Josh McDaniels' future. So, yeah, give me the Lions here to cover the minus 8.
Yeah, I think this is a get-right game for the Lions, too. They got embarrassed last week big time by Baltimore. Like, in a lot of ways, like, they were not ready to play against Baltimore. Now, I think I said to Tom on ETB this week that I think you have to drop the Lions out of the top 5 teams the way they played this past week because they were just not ready to go whatsoever. But this is a get-right game. The Raiders are in no man's land, and as Hank and Paul would say, a poverty franchise. This is an easy cover. Take the money.
Hank?
Oh, yeah. Not a contest. Give me the Lions. Poverty franchise, am I right, Paul?
Poverty franchise, can't take them. Lions minus 8. Easy.
Shaking my head before because this is just such a bad game for Monday Night Football. Not that the Lions are bad or, you know, anything like that, but just, yeah, obviously the Lions coming off of a game that is just absolutely brutal. But what else can I say? Johnny, with your stats, the Raiders being the get-right team, the Lions needed a get-right game. Yeah, I'm not going to add to this conversation. Just take the money and take it now.
It's my money, and I need it now.
Oh, man. I'm going to be humming that tune all weekend now. Zan?
I don't know if this has ever happened in the history of Football Friday, but am I allowed part of the rules of the picks for me to change my lock? Because I'd like to take Detroit at home in my lock of the week minus 8 on Monday night. This is easy. If Detroit doesn't win this game after losing to Baltimore last week, Baltimore, which granted I did take Detroit to cover last week. If they don't win this game, there's going to be some serious question marks coming out of the Motor City. This Raiders team is awful. This Raiders team is not ready to play against the Bears. That should have been the easiest win of the year for Vegas. They couldn't do it. They lost to the worst team in football. You mean to tell me that they have any chance on national TV? No. Oh wait, Jared Goff cooks Las Vegas. I could easily see Detroit winning this game 40-14. I think this game sucks. I really do.
By the way, we don't know. Couple things real quick. We don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be back in time for Monday. There's possibility that he may be back and starting for the Raiders on Monday. I don't think that makes a difference. And number two, so Zan, did you want to change your bench lock here to the Raiders?
Detroit to Detroit -8 as my lock of the week.
So let me just put one more game show reference real quick. Final answer.
Finally.
There we go. All right. And that
Final Jeopardy. There you go. There you go.
Nick, do you know what music you need?
What?
Bum 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 bum.
Oh, millionaire music.
Millionaire music.
Dun 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 dun.
I don't feel like getting zapped by YouTube though.
Tell me that's not the most.
We'll play it off the air. How's that?
You don't feel like getting Bailey zappy.
Wow,
that's funny.
And also, it'll be very curious to see if the Vegas Raiders make any moves by Tuesday's deadline too. Hunter Renfrow or Devontae Adams names have been linked before. Have been linked the last couple of days to teams, so we'll see if those moves are made, and we'll find out when we come back next week. We'll have a Frankfurt game and post-trade deadline, which is always a very interesting week to pick because you've never seen these teams, these new faces in new places before. Nick D, by the way, also took the Lions, so we wrap up week number 8 with a clean sweep on Monday Night Football with the Lions over the Raiders. Well, that's a fun way to introduce Wolf Spread, and we, again, can welcome them aboard, and they're happy to have them as a sponsor here for Football Friday here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. So a big week for a lot of teams, a full slate of action. So, guys, it was great seeing you all. You all have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to the football.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Yes, happy Halloween weekend. That's what I would say. We're in the middle. Either we're just starting it or we're in the middle of it right now, wherever you are. I got multiple events that I'm going to. So.
Hopefully every team that you support doesn't have any scaries going on this weekend.
Absolutely. Of course, a couple of ways, just before we get out of here, a couple of notes. Of course, check us out on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ETB Network as we head towards 600 subscribers and growing strong here. If you like our Football Fridays, leave us a like. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. And, of course, make sure you have your notifications set so you know when all of our stuff's going to be coming out, including Hank's Hidden for the Cycle, which is now in the World Series. Paul's 3-and-D as the NBA season has just gotten underway. Of course, Tom and Zan on the MMA Outsiders. Tom and Nick on Empty the Bench, and, of course, me on my Football Fridays. And we'll have a few of those next week as well, including a big one with Brody Sorbera on the first official college football playoff rankings. Also, check us out at etbpodcast.com, where you can get great posts from all of our ETB talent, including from Hank, and so much more. And if you can't watch us, check us out on the go. You can listen to Football Friday and all of our content wherever you get your favorite podcasts. So everybody have a safe, happy, and healthy Halloween weekend. I say that because it's going to be 5 days of events, at least down here for sure, and so much more. So we will see you all in November. That is when the next time we'll see you all. For Nick Morgasen, Hank Indictor, Paul Lombardi, Ben Kruse, Tom Albano, Zain Bando, and Nick DiMartino, I'm Johnny Montalbano. Everybody have a safe and great weekend, and we'll catch you all again next week and next month.